Hello and welcome to everyone. This presentation is about sports, which is an OCR Cambridge Technical's vocational course. Hopefully, as I go through this presentation, you will learn a lot about the course and how it runs and what opportunities it gives students. But if you have any further questions, please join me in my Zoom session that will be later on about this course. Also, if you do have any other specific questions, you can email me on lstella@kingsleyschoolbideford.uk. Cambridge Technicals is normally done over 2 years to give the equivalent qualification of an A-level. It also undertakes a 1-year course to study to gain an equivalent qualification at AS. So students don't necessarily have to do the full 2 years. They can, if they wish to, just do the first year. Now, the course qualification, there is no exam at the end of either the first or the second year. So they would just do the mandatory units and the optional units. Each unit of work that we have, and there are 7 in total, has a credit value. Unit 1 and 4 has 5 credits, and all the others have 10 credits per unit. The 30 credits would give at 1 AS at the end of the first year, and then the additional 30 credits would then give an A-level. Each unit is, when it's completed, marked before progressing on to the next one. Now, the course structure, there are 4 mandatory units that everyone has to do, and these are the ones that give the 30 credits for the 1 AS. Then there are further 3 units selected by ourselves, which then will gain the other 30 credits together to make 60 credits, which equals the A-level. They can, if the student has a particular interest, like one of the units is about nutrition and wants to go into that, they can swap one of these optional units for that. There is also the possibility for studying more than just those units. 3 more is 90 credits, okay, which would give you an A-level and an AS, okay, so 1.5 A-levels. And if timetabling allowed students, okay, there would be 3 other mandatory units and 9 further units where they could actually work towards and do 2 A-levels. This is really only for students who actually are solely going to be going into sports, and their commitments in the other academic subjects allows them to do this. Now, the course grading. Each unit is graded either a pass, a merit, or a distinction, with an overall grade at the end of the course. You don't necessarily have to get 7 distinctions to end up with a distinction or distinction star. You can get 1 merit, okay, but generally if you get a pass, then the likelihood of you trying to push that up to a distinction is harder. So generally we try and aim that they only get 1 grade below to still be able to do that. And there are 1 or 2 units that we turn around and say, you can do the same for this. If they still wish to do the distinction part of it, they can. Now, each unit of work is marked by teaching staff, okay, in school and graded, and feedback is given to them in the interim of the final grade for them to be able to achieve higher. So we may suggest that, yes, this is a merit piece of work, but if you were to go and do X, Y, and Z, you could then raise this to a distinction. This is up to the student to be able to do. When the work is done, we then have a moderator externally. Obviously, currently this time of year, going through COVID, we will be sending samples of work to our moderator, okay? And then they will have a look at the grades we're given and either confirm that the grades are appropriate to the evidence supplied, or suggest areas where maybe they need to do a bit more to get the grade. Now, this table shows you how the UCAS points are equivalent. As I said, these are equivalent. So distinction star is equivalent to an A-level star, and it carries the same UCAS tariff for when they're applying for university. Now, you can't achieve a distinction star, okay, on its own. That comes about by the amount of other grades and distinctions you have, which I will show you in the next table. So in this table, this is how the grading works. As I said, the credits, when I talked about before, how many credits they get for each unit, is worked out on a mathematical formula, and they get an overall points range. And as you can see in this points range, this is what decides the distinction star. So throughout the course, they could be getting distinctions in all their units, and then obviously the points would add up. But just because they get a merit or two does not necessarily mean they can't get the distinction star. It is the points total that will give them that ultimate grade. The course units that we discuss have elements of theory as well as practicality. The mandatory units are the principles of anatomy and physiology. This is all about how the body works in sports, and talking about levers and muscle contractions, energy systems, cardiovascular and respiratory. It's quite scientifically based, okay? And they do it through a PowerPoint. We try to offer a range of media with which the students can present the work, and they deliver this one through PowerPoint. We then have the sports coaching. This is a very practical part. Once they've learned the theory of how to be a good and effective sports coach, they then carry out their own coaching sessions with either within their peers or with other students. We then do current issues in sports. This is probably the most knowledge base of all the units, and it looks into the background of how sports became about, how corporations and agencies and institutes all help support. They look at all the issues as well, going from homophobia to racism, gender bias, and they tackle all of these using their own experience and knowledge in sports. Then the last part is the physiology of fitness. This looks at basically how the body responds to exercise, both short and long term. There's a theory-based part of it, and then they run their own 6-week fitness program where they collect data to actually analyze the effects of exercise on sports. So it's a lot more scientific and data-driven. We then come into our other units or optional units. Leadership in sports leads on from the sports coaching. This actually develops them as a leader. Yes, it's used in sports as a medium, but they learn all the skills that makes an effective leader. They will then be responsible for leading 6 students through 3 series of activities, assessing their performance, studying their strengths and weaknesses, and also learning how to evaluate themselves as a leader. We then do sports injuries. And this is a look at not only how we reduce risk, but also how, when an accident happens, we react and respond to that, and also the development of rehabilitation programs. And most of the students would have hurt themselves in one way or other, so can draw on this experience. And the last one is fitness testing in sports. Again, this is a practical-based part of the course where they learn about different health tests and fitness tests. They carry out these health and fitness tests, and they learn about how they can provide feedback and encourage people to do something about any area of weakness they have. The last part is professions. And as you can see, this unit is not all about just being a coach. In all the years that I've been teaching this, I have had students go into different professions, from being teachers to physiotherapists to nutritionists. And as you can see by all the jobs that are available, and this is just a small handful, it does lend itself to many, many opportunities. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to watch this presentation. And as I said, hopefully when you have the opportunity, you'll be able to ask me any more questions. Thank you.